prior to all this, conversation was Taysom Hill was the next guy up when Drew Brees would move on to NBC. Is that the case? Is that what's going on there, Larry?
I feel like that is going to be what happens, and it's funny. A few weeks ago we're talking about Taysom Hill and Jameis Winston, and no one's talking about Drew Brees, and it's just a wild twist of events. But I think all signs point to Taysom Hill, even with Jameis Winston coming in. Jameis Winston's under a 1-year deal. Taysom Hill is under a 2-year deal. I think Sean Payton's affection for Taysom Hill being that has just grown as we've moved forward. And I think Jameis Winston, is someone that they look at as like Teddy Bridgewater, who comes in, and if they need him just in case, if something would happen to Drew Brees and he would get injured or something like that, that Jameis would be the same thing as Teddy Bridgewater, and Taysom Hill would assume the same role. But Sean Payton is extremely confident that Taysom Hill can be their guy once Drew Brees is gone. And I'm still under the assumption that this is Drew Brees' last year. So that none of this has changed any. I'm still under that assumption.
Yeah, I mean, my gosh, there's some people who thought he shouldn't even be playing this year because of what's happened over the last 24, 48 hours. I'm not one of them. But you're hearing, I believe Shannon Sharpes said that Drew should retire and that he's not welcome there anymore or shouldn't be, regardless of his apology.
If you go look at the likes of that tweet of Shannon Sharp, Marshawn Lattimore liked the tweet, like that Drew Brees should retire. So I think that's kind of partially shows you that not everything is smoothed over yet. So, just that in and of itself is just a small sign that not everything is completely smoothed over.
So then,
and who knows when it will be.
I know, Larry. I mean, my gosh. So, and especially since it does not appear that any face-to-face conversations are going to be had in the NFL until training camp hits. What are you hearing about that before I let you go? Certainly in the state of Louisiana, New Orleans was a considerable hot spot back in April, as many cities and municipalities were. What are you hearing about the Saints and a playing season? Because Brady versus Brees is going to be a week 1 contest that the whole free football world is now definitely going to be tuned into. We knew they'd be beforehand, but for sure, lots of interest to see how Brees looks with his teammates in that game.
Yeah, well, as far as just in that, I do look. I think Louisiana's done a really good job of kind of calming down the COVID-19, and so people have done a good job social distancing, this, that, and the other. So, and the numbers have dropped considerably per capita since when it first started. Like you said, it was one of the hot spots. But I still think that the first time they get face-to-face will be training camp. Look, Sean Payton was way out in front of that, saying, let's be healthy and this, that, and the other. And so I don't think, that's necessarily going to change much. Look, I'm curious to see if Drew Brees gets workouts together. I mean, typically that happens.
Yep.
I'm curious to see if he does that. And if he does, I think it would be a good ground for him to have discussions with Michael Thomas or Alvin Kamara or Emmanuel Sanders or players like that who came out and certainly questioned is a nice term to put it, questioned
right.
His approach to his stance.
Well, it does sound like something Brees would do, right? Like, hey, let's send a plane and get everybody going.
I would think that is something that he would do, yeah. But we don't know yet.